Well, good morning, everybody. As you know, my name is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk, TGIF. And that TGIF is thank God it's finale, because the F is the same as my last name. It's Friday, so I think it works for everybody. What do you think, Mike? Does that work for everybody?
I like that. Smart.
There you go. Good. So anyway, I have today keynote speaker, best-selling author, lecturer, and just overall great guy when it comes to everything. His personal experiences, if you haven't read his book, are really interesting, and they really get down to the gut. And this is Mike Michalowicz, author of Profit First. And if you don't have the book, you need to go get this book. And Mike, thanks so much for coming on. Tell us a little bit about quickly your background story and how Profit First came into and other books you've talked about.
Sure. So, well, Dave, thank you for having me. So I'm an entrepreneur first and foremost, at least in my early stages as an adult. I grew a couple companies, successfully sold those businesses. And I'm careful about saying that they were multi-million-dollar businesses. But the reason I'm careful about saying that is I think people place a judgment like, oh, that's successful. And, maybe I haven't sold my business yet or ever will. But I think the reality is the important part. Those businesses struggled financially and in other ways as I was growing them. I was all about just sell more, and hoping someone would buy those businesses. I've also had a calamity. I became an angel investor, and that business was a disaster. Ultimately, I lost my house as a result. I lost everything, my possessions, my car. I didn't lose my family. That was about it. And that also became a turning point for me to become an author. Here's what I realized. The outside vantage point of entrepreneurship is that, the day you become a real estate agent or an entrepreneur or whatever, your friends are like, oh my God, you're a millionaire now, and you don't even work. And the reality is we have no money. We're under constant stress. We work our asses off. So there's this gap that I call entrepreneurial poverty. And I'm devoted, because I've lived it too long. I'm done with it. I've devoted my life to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. I think every business owner, regardless of what capacity you are in, deserves to be financially successful. Right. That's why you did in the first place. You shouldn't be working like an animal. We're humans. And my goal is to close that gap, eradicate entrepreneurial poverty, and allow entrepreneurs to live the lifestyle they want and be great contributors to our society. So that's why I'm a full-time author now, and I've written, you can see the books I've strategically positioned behind myself for marketing purposes.
Yes.
That's why I wrote what I wrote.
So and you live in New Jersey still?
Yeah, I'm right outside New York City, so I'm about 20 miles west. I'm far enough outside New York City that I don't have the New Jersey accent, talk like this, but I'm right on the border.
I know where you are, because I'm in Jersey too. I'm in Carlstadt. So
where are you? You're in Carlstadt. Okay.
I'm right.
You're right outside the fringe too. I'm outside Morristown.
Right. Okay. So I wanted to ask you something about what you just said. You talked about entrepreneurial poverty. People think you're making a lot of money, and would you agree that as an entrepreneur, I think I can equate it to you as an author and to me and everybody else as a real estate agent, that every day we wake up unemployed?
Yeah, totally. So for me, I got to move. These are products. They go on a shelf just like cereal boxes. They just happen to be at a bookstore, and I got to out hustle everybody else to move my product. At least that's what I thought. My perception's changed now. I used to think it was me against everyone else in my category. Now I realize it's much more of a collaborative thing. In fact, the more that consumers, especially as an author, are aware of other business books and fall in love with them, the more books they're going to read, and then I have more potential. So I'm now an active supporter. Well, this is true for all of us. There's this concept: we eat what we kill. You got to wake up in the morning and you got to move some real estate. I believe, not being a real estate agent myself, but have purchased through real estate agents, what I found is the ones who focus on collaboration are much better. It's a funny story. My wife and I just bought a house recently, and the real estate agent that was representing the house was representing the buyer side. The seller side. We're the buyers, but we knew the agent. And we said, listen, we would like to buy the house, and we really don't want another agent. Can you do both sides? And you can legally, but she said, honestly, it's in your best interest to have another real estate agent so there can be negotiations. Let me introduce you to other people. She introduces 10 people that she recommended, even though her commission now effectively is cut in half by doing this. And we said, her name's Jane. We said, Jane, the fact that you're willing to do this is so extraordinary. Now we're more committed to you. We're absolutely never going to use anyone else. And we did the transaction with her. And we already now are looking to do something else with her again. I think when we start seeking out to be of best interest to our clients, even if it's of a short-term detriment to us, that it can grow our business, and collaboration inevitably is the way to become friends with your competition. Can be true friends, and they have to see it the same way. Not everyone is in this mindset. Can actually be the most powerful thing you can do.
Absolutely, collaboration is another thing. And you used a word that, especially in my area, and really all through the real estate industry. And now understand this broadcast is aimed at real estate agents, to help real estate agents. That's always been my goal, is to help and collaborate, as you said. So you used a word that we hear an awful lot today, and I think most people don't even know what it means. And you said out hustle, but let's just take the out away and hustle. Because people, I mean, I love Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's always talking about hustling and everything else. And I can listen to your books and read your books, and also a great book called Known by Mark Schaefer, who I've talked about several times on this show, about hustle, and everybody's got to work, 22 hours a day and everything else. What's your thought on that?
So, I actually now almost regret saying the word hustle. So I'm kind of retaliating against it, because the concept of hustle and grind is so popular through so many people. And I believe the sentiment is good. I don't understand the intention. The intention is you've got to put in the effort. At a certain point, it becomes a detriment. At a certain point, we hustle and grind so much that we are carrying the entire business on our back for the entirety of the business. And that is not a business by any stretch of imagination. That is a glorified, not even a glorified job. That's a demonic job, because all you're doing is carrying this business for the entirety of your life. I believe our mission is to be choreographers, to organize the resources around us. And I don't care if you're a business of one. If you're a real estate agent of one, you have resources around you. It's the other vendors you work with, the lawyers and the title insurance, and all the different people I worked with, the guy that did the home inspection. You can choreograph those resources, not just using them, but you can actually have them completing some of your work in their natural process. If you put in the effort, they can complete some of the stuff that you're doing for you, because it's a natural outcropping of what they do. But also your clients, like, we can choreograph our clients to drive efficiencies in our business. Like, we used to, Dave, you remember this, rewind 10, 20 years ago, if you wanted to order something out of a catalog, you had to pick up the phone, the operator pick up, and you have to say, my address is this, my name is spelled like that, and they'd always F it up, and it'd be frustrating and whatever. Well, fast forward to today, no one does it that way. You go on the internet and you type in the form. We literally type in our own address like 1,000 times over a year. Right. And we're like, oh, I love doing this. Right. But the thing is, we do love doing it because we know it's going to result in perfect accuracy. The shipment will go to the address I want it to ship to. So we can, as real estate agents, as entrepreneurs of any type, we can organize and choreograph the resources around us to get the results. The definition of entrepreneurship is not hustle and grinding and doing all the work till you're dead. The definition of entrepreneurship is understanding the outcome you want to achieve and trying to get there as efficiently as possible by leveraging the resources around you.
That is such a great definition. I got a real good friend of mine, Ronnie George, out of Louisiana, who's a real estate broker. And one of the things, and also Grant Wise always says this all the time, is we need to work to a point where we can fire ourselves and hire other people to do those jobs, which is choreographing. It's taking all the little things that we've got to do, and we're putting them in place and getting, other people to do them. Also, another way to look at this, and this is not to demean anything that we do, but we do a lot of stuff that's low per hour, if you know what I mean. Low dollar per hour. Yeah. Right. So, just to give you an example, my biggest thing is I do these broadcasts once a week, and my objective and goal is to cut them up into pieces and use this as my pillar content. That's from Gary V. Thank you. And cut them up and use it for different things, places to put them, like Instagram, different places on Facebook, etc. But I haven't taken the time to fire myself at that yet, and I need to do that, right? So that's such a great example, such a great definition of entrepreneurship. So
you got to watch out for this thing. I call it the superhero complex, and I have it. I think all of us have it, and it's super dangerous. The superhero complex is that we can swoop in and fix yet another problem. We can save the business yet again. And the reality is, if you look at like superheroes in the movies, yes, they fight that evil villain, but they disable the military and the police from defending themselves. Like Superman, Batman, Black Panther, save us again. And we also leave a wake of destruction, just like Superman. He gets rid of Lex Luthor, but he also evaporates New York City. And there's another, 100 years. There's no movie about the 100 years of recovering New York after Superman crushed it. We do the same thing. We swoop in, we fix that problem, but we leave a wake of damage behind us, and we yet again disable the people around us from stepping up into that position. What we need to do is no longer see ourselves as the title of the action. We're no longer a real estate agent. You are a shareholder in a business, your own business. And maybe it's just starting off with you, and you're by necessity have to do the work. But very quickly, we need to extract ourselves from doing the work and start filling those gaps in. Initially with virtual help or part-team people, but even if you can take 10 minutes off of your plate every day, that's a great first step. And we keep building that out. And it's not a switch. It's not like one day you're going to wake up and you're out of your business. It's a throttle. But I believe for any business, we can put in a 2-year plan. Actually, that's what I put in my book in Clockwork. I document the process. I believe any business, because I studied now hundreds in this category, any business can go over to the point where the entrepreneur is no longer needed within the business within 2 years. That's a emphatic belief of mine.
So bringing that over to breaking things up and choreographing stuff and getting into a different topic, I want to go to an article you wrote a while ago about to-do lists and maintaining a task list and creating different columns and stuff. How important to you in your business has been creating lists and working that way?
Yeah, so I do it constantly. I have it on my computer now. I created my own little system, but I also have a notepad. So to even take today, here's the 2 things that came to mind that I have to do today. And then I'll move it over to my computer later on. Here's the power of lists. What I used to do is I just let it all sit in my mind. I'm like, okay, I got to do that, but I'll get to it and get back to my task at hand. And then I'm like, what was I thinking about? Okay. By trying to keep stuff in our mind, it puts a weight on our mind, and it takes us away from focusing on the thing we need to get done. By simply writing things down, even if I never do it, it actually has brought about efficiency because I don't need to waste a second more thinking about it. It's been stored. So I write down everything that comes to mind as a task so it gets out of mind. You write it down, it's out of your mind, no more distraction. Then I go to the list and I go through a prioritization sequence. And I wrote in that article, I found there's 3 components. One is this task at hand, will it bring money to my business in short term? If so, I put a dollar symbol next to it. My second question is, does this bring significant value to an existing client of mine? Because I know if I'm serving clients, that fosters retention and is the best form of marketing. Wowing customers, having them raving about you, word of mouth marketing is always historically been the best, and it will continue to be. It blows away the Facebook ads, is raving fans. So my second thing is, this task, does it make money? Yes or no? Does it serve clients as a smiley face? And then is it something that can be systematized? Meaning, if I complete this task, is there a way to have it repeat without my active input, giving it to someone else, or I can have a computer automation around it, or so on and so forth? If that's true, I put an infinity sign next to it. What I do by this prioritization is anything that gets all 3 symbols, dollar sign, smiley face, and infinity, that's absolute priority. I'm making money, I'm making customers happy, and I'm getting work off my plate forever. Whew, that's something I want to do. And I circle that, and that's how I prioritize. Historically, I prioritized on due dates. Oh, I got to do this by so-and-so. That's a random prioritization. It's not putting significance on it. It's just saying this is due by a certain date, and I'm letting the calendar dictate my life. I want the priorities to be caring for customers, making money, and making systems. And that's how I use my task management system now.
Well, when your system, it's amazing, and it's similar to how I've done some stuff and what I actually teach and coach. The question I have for you is, if someone was to take a goal and say, I want to achieve this in 12 months, and then they work backwards, you're saying calendar is not something that you really want to focus on. But if they want to achieve so many transactions or so much money in their pocket, they've got to work that back and almost reverse it back. Is that something that can be worked into your list system as well by using the calendar as well? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. So I think I have a long-term visions and goals. Actually, if I turn my camera, you can't see, but in my office here, I have like a little sitting area. And there I have a typewriter, an old fashioned typewriter. And on it, I have all the visions for 2019. Actually, I kick off every year on December 31st, before I go off for the New Year celebrations. I actually come into the office, no one's here, and I will just absorb what we have achieved and just think about it. And then I'll write out the plan for myself for the next year. Those accomplishments are the goals for the year, but then I back calculate it to your point and say, well, what do I need to do the first month and the first quarter to make that vision a reality? Those then become the tasks. And they get the symbols next to them again. Now, some things, by the way, are date specific. Like if I commit to a customer, hey, I'll get that quote to you by tomorrow morning, it goes on the task list with a date. So I'm not saying dates are not significant. I'm saying putting dates on everything makes it dilutes the impact of the system. Certain obligations, I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I'm not going to say, well, it's my health and it's important, but I can wait till the end of the week. I have a commitment. So there are caveats to address time, and there's definitely caveats to address vision.
I wanted to clarify that because a lot of people would think that, well, dates aren't important, but they actually are. And one of the things that I go through a process in one of my classes about lists. So I say talk about a global list. A global list is anything and everything you want to do in your entire life. And then talk about goals and go annual, quarterly, monthly, weekly, to a list you're going to accomplish on a regular basis of things you want to accomplish. A lot of it is based on calendared items, but it's all based on the optimum goal way out in front of you. But they're all the little things that got to be done. And the other thing that you've just added to it is, okay, that's going to take me 10 minutes. Why am I doing it? Let me give it to somebody else. Let me see if I can grab that 10 minutes back. So it's a learning process through the entire year, right?
Yeah. And talking about that learning process, the goal can change too. And I think that's okay. So it's funny. I had a goal when I started my first business. I'm very egocentric too. I was like, I want to have $1 billion company. I want to be the next, Amazon or Google or whatever it was. And it was legit. I felt it. I wanted it. And then after 2 or 3 years running a business, I'm like, I don't like, a small company. We have a very small business here. It's 14 of us. And I don't want to have 100 or 1,000 employees. Like that's HR. I now get to this point where I don't want that. And so now I reset the goal. And I'm not saying, oh, I failed on achieving my $1 billion vision. What I'm saying is I've learned more about myself and I have more clarity on what I want. I also realize that the goals I have for my future, maybe those will shift again. And that's why I go through this reevaluation. I've concluded that the right size business can find us. I don't need to be held to the standard of someone else. $1 billion business is not the definition of success that I want for myself anymore. And maybe that's what some people say. You're only a successful entrepreneur when you do that. Only Jeff Bezos or Sarah Blakely are really successful. And that's fine for their parameters. I just want happiness and contentment within, because that's the only way I can be a contributor to society. So I've allowed the flexibility to not set my goals based upon what other people aspire to. I'm letting the right size business find me.
Well, I think that goes back to a couple of things that I love talking about, which is the art of differentiation and being unique. I mean, everybody is unique to themselves and everybody is different than anyone else. I mean, we can all aspire to, this $1 billion company or this the 7-figure income or the 8-figure income, but when we aspire to that, it's kind of, it brings on anxiety and I want to do that. But if people realize how different they are and, they've got their own niche, they just got to find it. For me, I've always been different. I've always said what I felt, got myself into trouble a lot of times saying that, but I really don't give a damn, right? And that's how I am. I'm different. So what I coach and teach and train is all about.
I lost you, David. Are you still there? It dropped for a second. Okay, you're back.
Okay, so I want to get back into and go all the way around, come full circle to your book, Profit First, and I want to talk about that through a post I saw of a really good friend of mine talking about his brokerage business. And he wants to expand it. And he's asking questions about, what should he use? Should he use a line of credit cards, personal savings, partnerships? He wants to know what's working for others. And a lot of times people, and I have, and others have, they use a business credit card, and they put all their profits back into the business. Yeah. And we're the last ones to get paid.
Right.
Knowing that my life was always about if you can do it yourself, pay all the bills, and whatever's left, you can have some.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically he's saying, what's the best way for him to finance a growing business? And how should he do it?
Yeah. It's interesting. So the most common question I get about Profit First is about the reinvestment of profits. What I want people to realize is if you reinvest profits, that was never a profit. It's never a profit. It's an expense. That means your business, you're putting money into the business to spend it. That's the definition of an expense. We may have temporarily categorized it as a profit, but if the money goes back in the business to spend on something, it's an expense. It's a non-profitable business. It's like someone saying, listen, I want to lose weight 10 years from now. So I'm going to eat as much as possible right now so that I can lose as much weight as possible in the future. We compromise our health today, so 10 years from now we can get healthy. It makes no sense. When it comes to Profit First, when it comes to healthy companies, we need not to treat profit as an event. Profit is not an event. Profit is a habit. It needs to be baked into every transaction. We need to build the health of the business immediately. So if you're putting profit back in the business to reinvest, it's not profit. What we need to do is maybe just take out less profit in the get-go. So take out a little bit less, but book it away, hide it away, and never take it out for any other reason besides a profit distribution to the shareholder. That's you, the owner of the business, as a reward to yourself, because this will force discipline of the business living off the remainder. Then over time, increase the profit contribution so that profit account becomes bigger and bigger, and it forces your business to become more efficient on what it uses. The funny thing is the more money we put in the business, often the more inefficiency it brings about. We can try random things. Oh, I got some money. Let's try the Facebook ads. Oh, let me try, joining this membership. Let me get the expensive car because I want to impress my clientele that go around with me looking at homes. And we justify the spend, which actually allows us to continue this unhealthy nature more and more. Businesses that reinvest profit inevitably become continually more unhealthy. So the resolution to this again is take just a very small percentage of profit, but start allocating it so that you start learning what's working or not working in your business, allocate more and more profit percentage-wise over time, and you'll build the muscle for a healthy, efficient business. And the remaining business money that you have in the business, you target on what's working and you amplify that, not kind of these random, oh, we should try this, we should try that kind of approach.
So in other words, like you said, I believe it. You also say it in your book, is it talks about, take smaller steps rather than going for the
baby. Yeah. A wonderful financial genius in the financial space. His name's Dave Ramsey. That's what Dave Ramsey's famous for, that term, use baby steps. With Profit First, when we get businesses started, we tell them, if you've never been profitable before, let's start with 1% of your top line, or maybe 0.5%. Start very small, because if you can run your business off of 100% of your income, you can probably run your business off 99%. That's usually not too negotiable. But what will happen is you start building that profit muscle. A little bit of money's in there. And then after a quarter or maybe after 6 months, then we add another percent. So now it's at 2%. And what happens is it starts slowly constricting your spend. You'll often find that your business will start speaking to you. You don't have enough money to pay bills one morning, you wake up. That's not your business saying this isn't working. That's your business saying there's an inefficiency in the organization. There's something wrong with how we run our business. Even if it's a solopreneur, there's something fundamentally wrong if you want to have a degree of profit, and you start fixing it. It's the people who keep on plowing back that money in the business who never learn how to run the business properly because the business can't speak to them. I get excited about this because we have 150,000 companies plus now doing this process. We see it over and over again. Companies that get into Profit First discipline inevitably grow faster because they learn what really works in their business and they become masterful at it.
That's pretty amazing. And one of the things I remember from your book is what's on paper is not what's in your pocket.
No, never. You're right. Yeah. All I care about is the wallet. Like, I remember my accountant one day, he came to me with my income statement. This is in a prior business. He said I had $15,000 of profit. He circled it. And I was like, yeah, I finally had a profit after 5 years of struggle. And I go, Keith, where's the profit? And, accountants, they don't laugh. They start snorting. He does one of those things. He goes, that's an accounting profit, Mike. He goes, you blew all that money already. It's gone. And I'm like, this is bull. So when I talk about profit, I'm talking about cold, hard cash, the entrepreneur's definition, not an accounting profit. I mean, listen, Enron was profitable until the day they closed the doors. They were profitable. So this is not an accounting profit. This is cold hard cash bonus distribution to you, the person who started the business.
Right. Exactly. And you hit everything I was talking about there. So if there's several points that you could make that young entrepreneurs, including the solopreneur or the real estate agent, should do in order to keep more of their money, what would it be? What would those few things be so they can keep more money? Because let's face it, number one, they don't know that they're investing money. They know that they're spending money. And, a lot of them want to look, a lot of real estate agents say how great they're doing, but they suck. They're not doing that well.
Right.
So what would be a few things that you would tell them to do so they can hold on to more money no matter how much it is?
Yeah, it's funny. I spoke at a real estate conference just last week up in Seattle. This guy, Bill Kinney. I'm sorry, Ben Kinney.
Ben Kinney, right?
Oh, you know Ben? Okay. Oh, okay. So they invited me up there, and there was like 400 or so real estate agents in there. And I said, listen, the first thing you have to do is take your profit first. You have to. And so you take that money and you allocate it out and start with a small percentage. This is what we discussed. That's step one. Step two is you need to realize you are a business owner as opposed to an employee of a business. And that means you have a responsibility to figure out how to make the business operate as more as cash flows through the business, and as you start taking a profit out. Like, your job is to figure it out. The next thing I said is real estate is notorious, I guess, for massive influxes of money and then massive outpours. You have a couple of big transactions. You're like, whoa, I've had my year already. And then the next month you've blown all that money because you spend it so quickly. We need to set up what we call the drip. And the drip is, say you've taken $100,000 of commissions this month, massive month. Well, that commission may have to carry you for the entirety of the year. So we're going to put in this account called drip. And every month we're going to take out 1/12 of that money and flow it into our business. So it starts to normalize our income. I think that's the three major steps that you can take today to start assuring permanent profitability and to start shifting that mindset from a doer to a designer of outcomes to a true business owner.
It's always been an issue. I own my own brokerage for 21 years, and I've seen so many agents, get this check, and one of the things they tell you, the first thing I would always tell people is, look, just because you got money doesn't mean you can spend it. You have to understand, and everybody's business in real estate, not everybody, but ones that haven't made a really not good plan, it's always up and down and up and down.
Totally, right?
And it's like Billy Joel's song, "Go to Extremes," right?
Right.
It's just amazing. They're up here, they're down here. And look, a lot of people are like that with their emotions, and especially in the real estate business, because when it's down here, they're all glum and they don't want to do anything. When they're up here, boy, they're high and they're doing great, And
it's like drugs. Like, it's like you're snorting coke or something. You're like, wow, and then on the next day you're dead. And so first, to realize that fluctuation is normal and is very controllable through this process. That's the first major step, is to start this drip account and process, and really to see yourself as a shareholder. I think that was the big thing. As I was talking to these real estate agents, they said, I'm a real estate agent. I sell houses. I'm like, no, you own a business that sells houses. You're also acting as the key employee now because you're a solo entrepreneur. Right. But you need to start building a structure around it. And I also tell people, if you don't aspire to do that, if you don't aspire to operate a business, that's okay too, but really consider, are you better qualified to be a killer salesperson in an organization that someone else is operating the business? So this is a choice we can make.
Right, exactly. So Mike, this has been fantastic. I mean, there any, first of all, any parting words that you'd like to tell people, that anything else that we can add to what we've already talked about?
Well, so I want to add this to everyone listening, and thank you for doing what you're doing. I just want you to know, as a real estate agent, the impact you're having on our global economy. This is true for all small business. I discovered, Dave, that I think it was 97% of business in the globe is small business, us. Therefore, we are the definition of the economy. So you are critically important to our economy. So thank you for what you're doing. And my hope is that you take care of yourself first. Like, it's the old, put your oxygen mask on first so you can care for others. Your clients want you to be profitable. I want you to be profitable. And I know, listen, no client's going to go to you and say, oh, can you raise your commission? Can you charge me more money? Of course not. but they are saying, I want to make sure you're available all times of the night. I want to make sure that you help me find the perfect property for myself. I want you available, and I don't want you stressed and distracted by other things. And the only way to have all those things happen is if you don't have to worry about money. If you have to worry about the next sale and you can't focus on me because you're so panicked about the next sale, you're going to compromise me. So your clients want you to be wildly profitable so that you can care for them. And I want you to be wildly profitable so you can care for our community and our world. So just thank you for what you do and make some serious money. You deserve it, and we need you to make serious money.
So, Mike, if people want to get in touch with you or they want to, connect with you, first of all, you can go anywhere and even on Amazon and buy the book Profit First, but you've got other books as well. How do they connect with you, and how do they get on your mailing list and stuff? Because I'm on your mailing list and I love the stuff.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm sharing a lot of stuff now. I'm actually touring businesses and sharing insights I'm learning. You can go to MikeMichalowicz.com. I'll give you a caveat, though. That last name is nasty. It's Polish. It's long. No one can spell it right. I struggle with it. I set up a new domain. It's Mike Motorbike. Now, the irony is that was my nickname in high school. I've never driven a motorcycle, but I own the domain. So if you go to MikeMotorbike.com, that forwards you onto my website, and my books are there. Chapter downloads. I've written 6 books now. All chapter downloads are free. I am also a blogger and a podcaster, wrote for the Wall Street Journal. All that content is for free with the commitment to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty.
That's great, man. Thank you so much. I want to tell everybody that, for more information on this, make sure you can either go to Real Estate Skill Builder page on Facebook, or one of the things that I work on is helping people. And with my programs and stuff, the first thing I tell people to do, there's 2 books I tell them to read. The first one, honestly, is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, and the second one is Known by Mark Schaefer. 2 books I talk about all the time. There's lots of other books that are going to help you.
Bill, if you can hear me, I'm sorry, Dave. If you can hear me, you may have had a drop there, Dave.
What I'm saying is that the 2 books, Profit First by Mike Michalowicz here and Known by Mark Schaefer, those are the 2 books I really push. If you have any questions and want to find out about me, you can go to Real Estate Skill Builder on Facebook, or go to my page, reskillbuilder.com, to get a little bit more information. Maybe you want to have a conversation. But otherwise, Mike, thank you so much for coming on. Remember, it's Mike. Oh, we just lost you. It's MikeMotorbike.com, and we just lost Mike. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully, I'll get him back. But thanks again, and have a great week. See you next week, and we'll have another great show for you. Bye.